Good morning, everyone. Mr. Kamalakan. Mr. Kamalakan will deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of our college, the blessings of Secretary and Correspondent, K.K. Balaswamy sir, beloved Principal sir, and faculty members. I welcome Dr. Aravindan Balakrishnan and all the participants for our international webinar on
May I request our principal to deal with the presidential address?
And on behalf of I would like to extend my gratitude to the Malayalam Educational Trust and our secretary and correspondent, Sadhana sir, for having permitted us to conduct this international webinar. At this juncture, I would like to give brief note on our college. Our college was started in the year 1972. It brought many laws to our city, to the management system. It is an age-old college which has sympathy towards the economically deprived people and their children in the field of education. We have 14 different programs in aid stream and more than 29 programs in self-study. Around 5,000 students are pursuing their studies here. The Department of English is as old as our college and has been headed by Professor Kubulishan efficiently for more than a decade. He and his other three staff members are very efficient in their respective fields. An international webinar on digital tools for speaking skills. I was so happy that they took speaking skills as the topic of this webinar. To my understanding, speaking skill is the only skill and has always been neglected by the students when they start learning English. Among the four skills, speaking skill has to be concentrated by the students to meet out the global need. So, I consider this webinar is the need of love and wish all the success of the webinar. Both the resource person, Dr. Untitled Chapter, would provide many tips in this regard and would bring a new outlook. Their participants and staff members of English support college all the way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce the resource person. Dr. Aravind Balakrishnan is associated with English Language Center, Nizwa College of Technology, Sultanate of Oman, under the aegis of Directorate of Technical Education, Ministry of Manpower. He has completed his PhD at Bardar University, and he served as the faculty of English Language Studies, Al Nazar Campus, Al Fath University, Tripoli, Libya. He was instrumental in setting up language laboratory way back in 2001, first of its kind in Coimbatore, in Sri Ramakrishna Engineering College. He has published many papers in national and international journals. He has presented many papers in the in-house activities organized by the English Language Center. At present, he is engaged in research funded by the Research Council of Oman government. Being a webinar enthusiast, has given a number of presentations through webinars. Today, our speaker of the day has accepted to deliver his webinar on digital tools for speaking skills. Welcome you, sir. Over to Dr. Aravindan Balakrishnan.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, sir.
Welcome, sir.
I would like to thank the secretary, correspondent, and the principal, head of the Department of English, and other faculty members who are involved in this webinar activity. As sir said, the college was started in 1972. That was my birth year. Both the college and me have born on the same year, it seems. That's nice. Okay. Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Digital Tools for Speaking Skills. Thank you for taking the time out and being here today. For those of you just joining us, I welcome you all. Let's get into the presentation. I think my screen is visible there. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, fine. Let me start. Fine, that's fine. So the why I have chosen this topic is that speaking skills is are they often neglected one with the college students as well as the teachers normally. All right, and at this juncture in this COVID and lockdown time, students sitting at home find it very difficult for uh, to utilize this skill especially, right? So I thought that some digital tools might help for the speaking skills of the students. That's what I thought that, and then would like to show you some of the tools that you can use to improve the speaking activities online by the teachers, right? That can be done there, right? Fine. So this will be my presentation scheme. Just three parts are there in that. Number one is speaking. We'll be dealing with what is speaking, what is the speaking skills, what are the factors affecting that, the students, teachers, everything there in the first part. The second part is the digital tools. What is that? And the third part, how we integrate that digital tools for speaking skills. So the slides are also colored here in three different colors, and you can find that part when the color comes there. You can find that part. I'm dealing with that. Okay, that's fine. So we all know that we have the important four skills there in English: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Uh, I think the most preferable skill by the students will be listening, because on these online classes that is going on now, the teachers are giving a lecture there in online, and the students are maybe actively listening or passive. Both are happening there in the student side. We can say that. So the most preferred one by the students are listening skills. Next comes the reading, and you all know that the teachers will be giving assignments, and the students write on that. So writing skills comes into incorporated one, and the final one is a speaking one. For example, if a student wants to ask doubts in the online class, same like the classroom, he is feeling shy or inhibited, or many factors are into that we'll be seeing in the next slide. Okay. Just I wanted to all of you to just log in into this in another window. Please open another window and then log in into join.nearpod.com, and please type this code number so that you'll be having a question on your screen, and kindly answer that question. That's all. I give you 30 seconds time for you. So there is a question on your screen. If you had logged into that, you can see that it's join.nearpod.com. Just type in that web browser, and you'll be getting into that. And just type this code number QCPKF, all in capital letters. And there will be a question on your screen. Kindly answer that question. The question is, which of the following four skills you like the most? So the options are given there: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. Just you can log into and then click which option you like the most. Are you all able to log into join.nearpod.com? Okay, no problem. Let's just wanted to show you that how the is it audible now?
Sir, yes, sir, audible, sir, audible, sir. Carry
Okay,
on.
fine. Thank you. So, just I wanted to show you that how people, when this chance is given for them, people normally, even teachers and students, don't find the speaking skills that much interesting there for the teaching as well as the students, right? So let's get into the business here. What is speaking? The meaning given there in the dictionary is that the act or utterance or discourse of a person who speaks. Okay, we all know that thing there. And speaking means it's to converse, talk, to make vocal sounds, usually for the purpose of communication, to put across your message. It's an information that may apply to anything from an informal remark or giving a feedback or just asking questions. It can be anything to a scholarly presentation, to a formal address like a webinar introduction to the speaker, to speak before an audience, all these things and all. From a subtle thing to a main thing like that. Okay, it all involves the speaking there. Some of the definitions given by some famous people, Channy, he has given that the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and non-verbal symbols in a variety of contexts. So speaking doesn't mean that only utterance of words. It can be non-verbal symbols also to communicate your message there. Okay. Speaking is also considered as a very crucial part of the second language learning and teaching. Normally in the syllabus of the colleges and the schools, speaking is not tested as much like the writing part that we do there for the examinations. Teaching speaking has been undervalued, and English language teachers have continued to teach speaking just as a repetition of drills or a memorization of dialogues. Yeah, in the classrooms, the teachers normally do the role play activities or
Sorry for interruption, Professor. Please
Yes.
share your PPT, Professor.
One second.
That's fine.
One second.
So,
Ma, share screen. எங்க open இங்க இருக்கு. I think, is it visible now, sir?
yes, Professor. Yes, Professor.
Okay, right. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry for the technical delay. So I was just telling that it's teaching is an undervalued, and English language teachers have continued to teach speaking just as a repetition or a memorization skill or drills or a memorization of dialogues. That's what they are doing normally there. Okay, fine. As it is the most difficult skill to learn, Chika and Baiget have given that thing there. A little attention has been paid by the teachers as well as the students to learn this speaking skill, especially in the classroom traditional method, or now even in the online method that we are doing it now. English is a dominant language. That's the word they are using there. And when it comes to technology, most students enjoy being online. They have also observed that. and they are somehow forced to learn English because they have been repeatedly listening to the lectures of the teachers of different subjects and other things. So they are forced to learn English, but the output is not there, the speaking part. Okay. Now, when we use these technological tools, which can open up an entire new world of teaching and learning environments, according to these three persons, Claudia, Tetsko, and Stale, it can influence the students' motivation. Yeah, this online teaching, when we are doing it over the period of time for 3 months or 4 months, they can improve the students' motivation. They can improve the students' critical thinking and autonomy and more things. Many more things are hidden there, which the teachers have to explore there, right? Let's move to the next slide. There are different types of speaking, especially when we consider these four important aspects here. The first one is the ceremonial speaking, wherein normally we do that in the webinars. The introduction of the speaker is done, the speaker is giving a presentation, and finally you give a vote of thanks, and all those things are, it's called all termed as a ceremonial speaking. Students can also be involved in this to make them aware of how the webinar is conducted, how the people are involved in talking, and they can also be given a chance to do these activities in the webinars. And the second one is a demonstrative speaking, to which the audience have to complete a task, wherein the speaker is giving an instruction to do an activity online, or it can be by the teacher to the class students. The students can just by listening to the instructions of the teacher or the person who is involved in that, they can complete the task, like anything on the Google Forms, or it can be fill in the blanks exercise, matching words, or typing, or any kind of exercise, wherein this is a kind of a way, and the teacher can finally ask the students to read what they have written there. So it can involve a kind of speaking there for the students. The third one is informative speaking, wherein the college professor, guest speaker, or the company president, or any person who involves into this kind of thing, like a project leader is explaining about the growth of the company or other things, like on the first day of the college, the professor who comes to the class, he explains about the course and other details there. That's a kind of an information that is passed on to the audience. That's a third kind of speaking activity. The fourth one is persuasive speaking. Audience members to agree with your point of view. When a kind of a person is talking to the audience, and the people want to agree to his point or to disagree, they might ask questions to the speaker, wherein he has to answer those questions in the way of a persuasion. He has to make them agree to his point. So in order to do that, he has to use certain phrases, certain sentences there. So that speaking is called persuasive kind of speaking there. Right. So now we have seen what is speaking, the meaning, the definition of speaking, types of speaking, everything. Now we'll get into the business of how or what is teaching speaking, how to teach speaking like that. Okay. So teaching speaking is normally a very, very difficult part for the teachers as well as for the students to learn, because it involves many factors into that. You can see the teacher has to produce the sound, or either the teacher can do that, or he can play an audio or a video, how the sound is produced there, the sound patterns, and the students can learn that, and then they can ask to be repeated. They can use the word that part of the sound in a word, they can use that and repeat that word. Then the sentence stress comes there, the intonation patterns, and the rhythm of the second language. All these are involved into that, so that the initial part, the student should be accustomed to all these kind of speech sound patterns, stress, all these things, intonations. And it's a kind of a repeated practice they have to do. It's not like just reading in a one day. And if the students want to express his ideas to the teacher of asking a question or raising a doubt, anything, what is that appropriate word or sentences or the question form that he can put into? So what he has to do is to write and practice, and then he has to do all these things. So it's on like that, right? organize their thoughts in a meaningful and logical sequence. So how to ask questions or what they are wanted to do, everything they can write it down and then put in a sentence form, and then they can ask the teacher. And if there is a mistake, the teacher can correct that part of that word in a sentence, and then the students can improve on that thing. So it's a step-by-step process, like with the sound from that to the word, and from the word to the sentence, and from the sentence to the question. So all these things involve repeated practice, and it's a continuous process, right? Then finally, the one is that the students can use the language quickly and confidently. That is very, very essential. You should not have more pause and the gap between the words in that. It's called fluency, right? So the student at the final stage should be able to use the words in a sentence, and then they should be able to speak like a fluent person, like a native speaker, not exactly like a native speaker, right? Okay. So to teach speaking, it can be the first thing that the teacher can do is by interacting. Okay, the teacher can ask the students to, the teacher can instruct a command so that the students obey, and the teacher can ask the students to repeat what the teacher has said. So if they have listened properly, they will be able to use the same words what the teacher has used, and they can repeat the same words to the teacher, so that the teacher can understand the students. Okay, my students have understood well. Oh, my instruction is very clear. Like that, they can be positive, right? The next thing is communicative language teaching and collaborative learning. Collaborative learning is that you can put the students into small groups in online groups itself, and you can make them as one person as a leader, and then you can make the person to give some instructions or work, and the other students can feel free or feel at ease to do the work with the students there, right? So that will be the thing for them. The next one is the students communicate in the target language. Yeah, that's very, very essential. Even for our students, students normally think in their mother tongue, right? And then translate. This kind of thing happens there in the mind. But if they know the vocabulary well and how to pronounce well, and then a little bit of fluency is there, they can just put in their target language itself. It's very easy for them. Next is create a language, a classroom environment where students have real life communication, authentic activities, meaningful tasks, and promote oral language. So the students can be tested with authentic activities with the help of, we can say, like BBC, British Council videos are there, or some small videos are there wherein they can try those things to repeat, record, and then send those things across online for the teachers to view that, right? The next thing is students collaborate in groups to complete a task. Yeah, that's what I said, that the teacher can give leadership in different groups for one student, so that the student is comfortable with the group leader. Example, if a student in a class of 60 in an online class, if the student feels little difficult to converse because other students might listen, he'll feel free to talk with his own friend who is the leader in that group. So that in this way, the communication can be developed, and each group's communication, what the leader as well as the student is doing, that the teacher can record that, and then later on he can play it, and then he can play before the students and ask that group to observe it, and then give their feedback and other things. Okay, in that way, you can develop a little bit of teaching tasks in the classroom as well as in the online teaching. Okay. Next one is teaching, speaking traditionally and online. What is the difference between these two? There might be slight differences that I have pointed out here. Maybe there are more in number, but what I experienced that I have given here, there in this, right? You all know that in the traditional classroom, the teacher can see what's going on there in the classroom, what the students are speaking, how they are behaving, their body language, everything the teacher can see in the traditional classroom. The next one is that he can feel the atmosphere in the room, how the students are. Is it very noisy or is it very calm? Is any student not speaking at all? Everything he can just observe there, and he can monitor the body language also. Sometimes the students behave a little rude because what they talk, the other students should listen like that. If there any kind of behavior pattern is there, that also this teacher can monitor there. And the engagement, the attention, how attentive the students are, everything can be monitored by the teacher in the online, in the traditional classroom. Coming to the online classroom, there are lots of ways of building rapport, right? Rapport between the students. If the teacher knows the student previously before the course starts, he can just build a rapport with the student so that the teacher and the relationship is okay, and then fine, because he wants to put the instruction, the students will listen to him, right? Next, monitoring students' participation and engagement is also an important thing there in the online activity, because these days we know that many webinars are happening around the world, and online classes are also happening around the world. So the students are glued to the screen, they stick on to that, and then they normally sit continuously for hours together on the screen. So that if they feel a little bit bored, and if they feel a little bit reluctant in listening, they normally keep the screen there and then they just move out. They are not in the class, okay? Then, giving feedback. In the traditional classroom way, giving the feedback to the students is that you can call the student nearby, and then you can tell them that you have not pronounced this word correctly, you have not done this part, and everything you can tell them either orally or you can give a written feedback there. But in online classes, giving a feedback to the students is one-to-one feedback you can give, so that others are not listening to that. Okay, in that way you can send, or you can send an email to the student. The main thing is that the student doesn't need to travel from one place to another place. They can sit at their home with ease and then listen to the speaking classes online, right? You can join from your home, from your office, or anywhere where you are having a very good internet connection. That is the main thing there, because without a very good internet connection, the speaking activity might get disrupted, because the teacher might be playing the video or the audio there, and the student will not be able to listen there, and he cannot repeat the exercises what the teacher is doing there, right? And in the online classes where the speaking or any other activity is happening there, the students feel much relaxed and they are at ease. So this these kind of online atmosphere for the students can make them to develop the speaking tasks also slowly, step by step. Okay. Why we have to teach speaking skills? So there's the next one there. Here we will be having the ability to inform, persuade, and direct. And if you want to stand out from the rest of the crowd, right, you have to speak well. Many great orators and other people, you know that, and you remember their names because of their great utterances or their great quotations or their great speech. Why? Because they have their own style of delivery, right? Ability to benefit derivatively, and there is a career enhancement also. A very good orator will be appreciated and he will be called anywhere to speak. Okay, so there is a career enhancement in this speaking also. Not only they like other jobs, here also many orators are there. You can know that in your language. Next, you have your personal satisfaction. For example, as a teacher, everyone, those who go to the class and they deliver a lecture for at least 1 hour or 1.5 hours, when they come out, they should have a personal satisfaction that I have done well today. I have taught something well for my students, and my students have understood well everything. Okay. Some of the sub skills that are involved in speaking are, you can see these are the very, very important aspects that come into all these things. For speaking, a student should know everything that is listed up here. The first one is a vocabulary, the next is a grammar, next is a pronunciation, fluency, listening comprehension, body language. Okay. Sorry. So all these are the sub skills, or it can be termed as the important aspects that can be put into together to form the speaking skill. Okay, these are the sub skills that is involved there. Students should start with the sound, as I said in the previous slide. They should start with the sound. They should start with the pronunciation aspect, the intonation, stress, everything involves into that. And finally, when this is put all together, they can speak very nice. Okay. So the next one is we can see that which skill is regarded as the most important skill. Here you can see that it's 70% speaking skill. I would like to give you data, an example, not a data, an example wherein you can see that in the schools or the colleges, out of the 4 skills of English language, the normal one that is neglected is speaking, right? The percentage is very low. Writing is given important there normally, where in schools or colleges, the students are tested most of the time with their writing. So that occupies a major part there. So in the schools, colleges, for the testing of the students, we have writing as the first one. Next comes the reading, third one listening, and the fourth one speaking. But when these students pass out of the college and when they want to go into the job, which they prefer, or the jobs that they get, surely speaking comes here. The communication skills comes here, and it takes a major part. Okay, so speaking is regarded as a most important skill while getting a job. So I request the students and the teachers to concentrate on the speaking skills while this during the online classes also, no problem. Next, we move on to the challenges and the problems that the teachers or the students face in the classroom that you can see here. It's when the teacher tells a topic for the student to speak, the students are normally reluctant. They don't open up with what to talk, especially. The kind of inhibition is there in the class. There is a time constraint because out of the class of 25 or 50 students, the teacher cannot make all the students speak during that time. And if one student is speaking, the other students will be just disturbing the classes. All these things are there, right? There is not enough time for the teachers to set up an activity. For example, if there is a writing activity, the teacher can give a question or an essay, the paper to the students, and can fix up a time for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and they can write the essay within that time. But here in speaking activity, it is not like that. So because each student is different and each student learning capacity is different, the students have to open up. Some students might speak very fluently and some students might be very reluctant in opening. So it all decides upon the timing, how the teacher sets up there. And it's very difficult for the teacher also to do that, right? When a speaking part comes, even some students have absent themselves to the class. This point I have not mentioned here in the slide there, but it's a normal thing that when you inform the students that tomorrow there is a speaking activity that we are going to do, some students get absent themselves because fear is there for them. And it's hard to monitor speaking when for writing or other things that is tested for the students. One teacher is enough of the class, but for the speaking, there should be another teacher, a moderator, to sit there and then mark the columns that are there for the marking there. Giving individual feedback is also a very big challenge for the teachers to give that, because it all depends upon the pronunciation, the vocabulary that they are using, the fluency level. So various categories are there in which the teacher finds it's very difficult to give the feedback to the students there, right? Okay, fine. Let's move to the next slide. Challenges and problems that we face in the online teaching is that we have the isolation. For example, in the classroom situation, you can put 2 students together and then you can ask them to have a role play or a dialogue you can give to them, and then so that they just stand face to face and then talk what is there in the book. Student A, student B, the task, everything can be given to them and then it can be made as a practice. But here in the online teaching, speaking has a little bit of a problem there with because each student is isolated in different parts of the houses, I mean, sorry, different parts of the place. So bringing together our thing for that, we need a tool. That is what I'm going to put that across in the next coming over slides. We need some tools for that to put these students into a group and then monitor, observe, giving feedback, everything we can do with that. Like, fine. Next is a lack of motivation in online learners. That's what a kind of activity that you are giving there in the classroom. They are being monitored by the teacher there, but here in the online, it's very difficult for the teachers to monitor the students because with a glance of an eye in the classroom, all the students are coming into his contact, the eye view, right? But here in the online classroom, he has to look at the screen of each video that is displayed there. Small boxes are there, and if there are 60 and more odd students are there in the classroom, then you have to move your screen and then locate here and there, and you want to call any person, you have to locate whether the person is available or there. All these constraints are there for the teachers also there. And time-consuming resources. These activity that has been done in the class is different, and it's in online also. It's there are many constraints for the teachers. More time will be consumed there because of the internet connectivity, because of the student video not available, or the student speaks, it is not heard by the teacher. All these technical kind of difficulties are there, wherein it's a challenge for the teacher as well as for the students. Okay. Setting and forgetting online learning activities. Sometimes is if the activity is not repeated for a certain period of time, the students might forget the activity that they had done in the online classroom. That's what I'm going to mention here. That's fine. The factors that affect students when speaking in English. Okay, that's a lack of security when speaking, not enough time to prepare. The same things are coming over here. Pressures to speak English correctly. Yeah, this part is that some students want to imitate like a native speaker. Okay, so without knowing the correct pronunciation of the word, some students commit the mistake of doing that thing. The imitation is not the main thing here, but they have to speak correctly here. Okay, so the pressure on them is that they have to listen correctly and then they have to speak correctly. Not enough knowledge about the topics for discussion. Exactly. For example, if a teacher is giving a topic and the student has to think about that within 1 minute or 2 minutes, and he has to jot down the points, brainstorm everything, and then he has to talk on that. For that, he needs a vocabulary to deliver that thing. Okay, so that also can affect his speaking. The lack of motivation is also there in that. From the teacher's point of view, the factors that affect the student's speaking performance is that not enough self-confidence, lack of knowledge in the general topics, same thing there. Use of mother tongue. For example, if he doesn't know some words which he has an idea in his mind, but he cannot put that word there in English, he might use his own mother tongue word in that. It gets mixed up there automatically. Okay, a kind of anxiety is there. Any topic that is given, oh, I can't speak like that. Next is the lack of motivation to speak, not enough time for preparation. Okay. In the teacher's point of view as well as the student's point of view, some things are common here. The factors that affect for the speaking for the students, right? So the factors that would develop the speaking skills for the students. Listen to examples, audio models for the new services, or you can listen to some lectures, or even the TEDx. That's the one I wanted to mention here. Any topic that the student wants to know about, that he can type in the browser TEDx, and he can search in that, and then he can listen to the how to develop speaking skills, or anything related to our webinar also. He can find out there in the TEDx, and he can repeatedly listen to that, and he can get some words or the pronunciation, how it's being done, all these things. All right. Work at home in activities to develop speaking skills. Yes, if the teacher is giving an activity for the students in the classroom of 1 hour or 1.5 hours of online class, it's not possible for the teacher to test all the students. So what is that? It's like a homework that the students can do. They can record and then they can send back to the teacher, so that they can the teacher can at his free time, he can listen to that and then give the feedback later on. Okay, in that way, it's a continuous learning, and then the speaking will happen surely. Having enough time to plan oral activities. The teacher can give an example there and then make the students to work on that and then submit the assignments later time. Okay, and the teacher can allow individual correction, or the teacher can allow other students to correct his friend's mistake. In that way, the peer correction can make the student to learn much faster there, right? And the next one is listening to their own voice to self-correction. They can record their voice, and for that many tools are there, which I'll be listing out in my other slides that to follow. In that, students can record their own voice, and then they can listen to their own voice. If they want to make any correction or editing, they can do that, and then final draft, they can send the speaking activity to the teacher there, right? Choosing their own time to practice. Yeah, that's what. In the classroom, it becomes a pressure for the student to do that within that time limit. All the students are pressurized, but that should not happen. The student can be given a time at their own pace, because a student one can finish it within 5 minutes. Another student can take 15 minutes. Okay, fine. So here the activities that can promote speaking here is that you can use a kind of discussion. You can use role play, you can use a simulation, you can use information gap, brainstorming, storytelling. Many activities are there, but I have listed a small piece of here. You can use a story completion. You can start with a story of one sentence a student will tell, and the other student has to follow with that. And the other student, like that, they invent their own ideas and then put that in sentences so that the story goes around in the online class also, right? It can be picture narrating, it can be picture describing, and it can be finding the difference. All these things, when you give it a picture on the online class, the students are prompted to speak. They might shout in the initial stage, but later on they can behave well in the class so that the speaking activity is done there, right? Okay, fine. The teachers, they assess the speaking of the students in these categories, which are pronunciation, accuracy, fluency, the interaction, and the participation level. Okay, so normally you can find the templates of the exams that you're taking up, IELTS, TOEFL, or any exam that you take up in English. All the 4 skills are involved into that, and you can have. I'm just showing you a sample of the speaking band here for IELTS. You can find the fluency, lexical resource, grammatical accuracy, pronunciation. Okay, so in this, how it's a band descriptor there. Okay, fine. So now we are entering into the second part of our presentation, as I showed you in my presentation scheme. So the color is different for the slides here. What are digital learning tools? It's an instructional practice that ultimately helps students. Broad range of technology enhanced education strategies. It includes blended learning. That's a new term that is being used now for online learning. Blended learning means your traditional classroom you are bringing into online classes. Okay, it can be flipped learning, personalized learning, and other strategies that rely on digital tools to a small or large degree. It can be, if you use a mobile phone in the classroom, it is a small kind of a degree that you are using there. And if you are using a well-equipped language laboratory or a licensed software, where it is a large degree of your using digital tools. Okay, a simple thing like interactive whiteboard is an example of a digital tool. You can find other tools and resources include word processing documents. Even the word file that you're using as a exercise to ask the students to type your answers or do that thing is also a digital tool for the classes. Okay, it can be a slide presentation software. It can be an electronic reference materials, a tablet, cell phone apps, everything there. The tools to teach speaking skills here, you can use these are the following list of the famous ones that we are using. Maybe there are other things also. Here we have the Zoom, we have GoToMeeting, we have Adobe Connect, we have AnyMeeting, Skype, Big Blue, Click Meeting, and our Google Meet. That's not listed here. Okay, fine. So all these things are also called digital tools that make the connection between the teacher and the students for the speaking activities that can be done there. This is normally used for delivery of your speech to the students, but these platforms also can be used to teach speaking skills for the students, right? So to develop the presentation skills of the students, Lane, a person, he has developed web conventions, okay, online presentation skills. He recommends technology that allows the students creative control over the content, basic technology instruction. Before getting into any of the things, tools you are going to use, both the teacher and the student should be aware of the technology that they are using, the platform that they are going to use. Should be easy for both sides. Okay? The activities that integrate text and the activity that integrates images also. Okay, it should be easy for the students to do those activities and then send the information to the teachers. With a variety of media, you can use videos, you can upload your YouTube videos wherein you can give the link to the students to watch later on. You can do that thing also. And you have to give permission for the students for the opportunity to share with his own classmates what he has done. So there are certain type of tools wherein that tools give access for other students to look into other students' work like that. Okay, I'll be showing you those tools also. Here, here is an example we did in our college for the students for the speaking skills where. Or to develop the presentation skills, what we had done is initially we gave a small kind of an activity wherein for the speaking part or introduction of a person or introducing oneself, here column A you have the expressions here, and the second part of that is given here. You have to match these two things. This kind of exercise, if you give that and then they match this exercise and then they give you or read out or record that the full sentence and then send you back, then you can give the feedback to the students. Correct. Oh, this is correct. This is wrong. This one is you are done like this, and then you can give the feedback to the students like that. Okay. And every day you can ask from these expressions of speaking. The slide just I showed you there. You can ask at least 2 expressions every day. The students can repeat that automatically at the beginning of the class or the end of the class. In this way, they remember that expressions in their mind, and when they are prompted to speak, they normally use that with ease. Immediately they can speak that one. Okay. And finally, when they are aware of these expressions that they can speak, you can put them into small groups, and then you can ask them to present in the group, not in front of the teacher. Okay, it will be easy for them to do that things. And before delivery, or after they have spoken that, they have to have a small checklist, which I am showing there on my slide now. They have to answer these things, and if they are able to give an answer of 5 marks for each question, then their presentation is good. It is a kind of a self-evaluation that they can do. Every speaker, a student, should have a kind of questions like this, so that they can actively reflect on their delivery, so that they can read the question and then they can answer it, so that they can give these questions to the other students, so that other students can give a feedback, and you can read that and you can develop your speaking levels like this. Okay. So here are some of the online activities for speaking that you can do it there. You can do some kind of brainstorming exercises. You can do some quick word games like Scrabble, for example. I'm telling you, Scrabble. Some online games are there with the word games. Next one, you can discuss some questions wherein the students can give answers on that, and image-based activities wherein you can put the picture narration or picture describing. Both can be come under this. You can ask them about the picture, what they feel like that. Okay, stimulating conversation. Okay, you can give a prompt with that. They can come out with their own ideas, and then they can talk with that. I would like to list out some of the apps for the language educators, wherein here you have the Fluentu, Socrative, Plickers, StickPick, TeacherKit, Vocaro, and Audacity. These are the language apps that can be used by the teachers to make not only speaking skills, other skills also are integrated into that. Fluentu is nothing but a language learning to life with real world videos. Okay, you can make them that and then make them do that. Socrative is your classroom application for fun and effective engagement and on-the-fly assessments. You can give that. More assessment and other things can be done with the kind of an app. So this is the one that helps the teachers there. The next one is the Plickers. Students can now answer live at home on their laptop, Chromebook, or iPad. When you ask questions to the students and then they want to give answers live, they can use this app for that. And the next one is the Teacher Kit. It's a simple to use a feature-rich app that makes day-to-day teaching a breeze by eliminating the headache of routine class administration. Teachers can arrange classes and manage easily. They can take attendance of monitoring the students. All these things can be done with this Teacher Kit, which is very, very helpful for the teachers here. The next one comes here is Vocaro. It's a simple web-based learning tool for recording audio in a web browser. It's a very simple thing, and you can record your voice. When the class is going on, the student can record his voice and send across to all the students or to the teacher alone. Like that, you can do that. The last one is Audacity. It's a free open source cross-platform audio software, easy to use multi-track audio editor and recorder for Windows, Mac, iOS, Linux, and other operating systems. So this one works with all other laptops and other kind of things, right? All right. Another one I would like to show here is resources for teaching speaking skills. So this resource I found out online, teachthis.com. In this, you can find fun and engaging ESL activities, games, and worksheets for English teachers and use in the classroom. This can be used for online classes also. This is a wonderful tool which can cater to the needs of various levels of students. You can find that, for example, school grade students or college first year students or level 1, level 2, like the Cambridge, Common European Framework. They say C1, B1, A1, all these things. No? For that, which kind of activity you need for listening, speaking, reading, or writing, or any word game or games related to grammar, anything can be done with the help of this teachthis.com. Okay, fine. And I'd just like to show you this Teach This once again. That's taking time.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Not
Yes,
the
sir. Yes.
PowerPoint. The other one?
Okay. It's visible. Resource for teaching speaking skills. It's the title.
Okay, fine. This website, teachthis.com. Without hyphen, if you type, this website goes to the other one, which is not our, for example, ESL activities is not there. You have to put this hyphen there. That's very, very essential. Teach-this.com. Okay. So you will get a screen like this there. One second. I think my screen is visible now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it visible now? Teach this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you that. Here you can have the grammar part is there. You can find the parts of speech, functional language. Here in functional language, you have many kind of speaking activities like making suggestions, giving personal information, greetings and introduction, anything that you want to make for even apologizing, right? How to tell that one. For people normally say sorry, isn't it? Simple word. But in different occasions to different people, different ages.
Arun, please switch off your video. Dr. Arun. Arun, switch off your video, please.
Sorry for the interruption. Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep going, sir.
Okay, fine. So in functional language, if you go and click, you have a lot of information here, like giving personal information, shopping, small talk, telephoning. Just I would like to give you a small a demo. I can show you that. You just click into this and then you can go. But this normally is, see, you can find here beginner level, elementary, A1, A2, pre-intermediate, intermediate, and upper intermediate. Okay, so you can select your student level according to this, and then you can go into the ones that blue color is showing is exclusive. It means that you have to be a member of this, teach this. For these activities to download, you have to pay some amount there. But there are some free activities which are listed in green color that I'm showing you now here. First class interview and introduction. If you want to download this kind of activity, it's written free here. So what you do is click here. And then you can find the activity, the teacher page, and this. Oh, there's an error here. Sorry. Yeah, the ones that are in green color, you can just click like this, and then you can see that. Yeah, it's downloading. Yeah. See, here you have the teacher page, teacher's notes, how to conduct this activity. Okay, that you can see it here, and this is the page where it can be given to the students. So match the personal information questions and the answers. Everything is given ready-made there. You can just download this, and you want to make the students aware, take a snap shot of this page, and then you can put that into your screen so that the students see that. If you want the students to get a personal copy of this, you can just email this sheet to them, because this teach.com has giving permission granted to reproduce for classroom use. So it can be used a number of times, and it can be made copies to the students even in the traditional classroom, or it can be sent across to the students. There is no copyright for this. Okay, so it has been given permission by the teachthis.com. Like this, you can just go into this website, and you can just and you can just go into this. You can click, for example, you want to indirect questions, if you want to teach how to give, or how to give advice, how to give directions, for how to give opinions, describing things and places, anything that you want to hear. Even you want to encourage as students motivation, you have games here. You are drilling games, answering games, brainstorming games. Before the class, you want to make the students feel at ease and then get attached to your lectures. You can make a little bit of games here so that they, and please make sure that whether that game is culturally accepted in your area and whether it can be used by the teacher in the classroom. That thing first you have to monitor. You have to make aware that these things are okay for my students to learn. Then you can click on that, and then you can go into that. Okay, that's fine. So let me go back to my presentation slide. One second. Yes. So this is the resource for teaching speaking skills. This can be incorporated in the classroom in such a way that the students are learning at ease, and then they are able to develop their speaking skill to I think at least 75%, not 100%. Okay, because it's not in the teacher's hands. The teacher can give an instruction and make them aware. The rest of the thing goes into the hands of the students. If they want to develop their speaking skills, they have to be attached with the online class and the teacher, right? Okay. So that's all, and these are the references that I have made for my presentation. And I would like to thank the Almighty, my parents and my family members, Mr. Sultan Al-Digaishi, the head of the English Language Center, Nizwa College of Technology, Oman, and Sadhana Isammal KK Balusamy, Secretary and the Correspondent, Modali Educational Trust Hero, Dr. R. Venkatachalam, the Principal, Mr. R. Kumaresan, Head of the Department English, Dr. K. M. Kamalakannan, Assistant Professor, Dr. K. Saranan, and all others related. Okay. Thank you.
Any queries, please? Participants, would you like to ask any questions?